It's Sunday, September 1st, 2019. That's right, it is September. I can't believe it. This is all about your Benjamins, your weekly mixtape, and your weekend review video. Got a few headlines we'll run through. Let's talk about the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and investments. First, we'll just kind of recap the month. It was a crazy month in the markets if you're paying attention to that. August saw some pretty big declines, saw some recoveries, and at the end of the day, the month ended down just barely a little over 1% on the S&P. I think the Dow is down a little over 1% as well, and the NASDAQ, which is more tech-centric, is a little bit more down 2%. But if you look at some of the 3% days we had, to say that we would end August the way we did would be probably pretty surprising. So the market was obviously impacted this month by trade talks, interest rates, inverted yield curve, a lot of things going on, recession fears, but at the end of the day the market kind of settled. Part of the reason why the next headline is consumer spending in July, which we get in August, was strong. So consumers are still out there spending, which says that they're feeling good about the economy. If we start to see consumer spending slow down, that would make us think that people are getting a little bit more concerned about the future. Maybe they're going to start saving to build up for a recession or change in jobs or loss of job, whatever it might be. But overall, a good consumer is optimistic for the US. So that's where this kind of back and forth within the markets and the headlines go. We see some things like the yield curve that make us think a recession is coming, which I've talked about that before, and I have another video that'll be coming out next week about that. But then you also have this good economic data, low unemployment, low interest rates, good consumers. It's which way are we going to go? So why we don't react to headlines when it comes to our planning and our portfolios, but just understanding what's going on. So we have global concerns of slowing down growth, but US right now economically still looks pretty strong. Earnings season went through, was pretty good, so a lot of conflicting data. It's hard to make sense of it, which is why this is not an easy game, which is why for most people I believe a diversified portfolio of mutual funds, ETFs, is probably the best way to go. So you're not trying to make sense of all this data, pick specific stocks to get there, make it much more complicated, where if you just have it diversified out in line with your risk tolerance, you should have a portfolio you can probably ride through ups and downs and get the long-term expected returns that you're going to need for your financial plan. But again, those are all factors and conversations to have with your financial advisor to determine what's best for you and your plan. We're going to move on to more of a, not really an opinion, but not economic data point. There's a post in the Wall Street Journal I highlighted that talks about the historic asset boom passing half of America's families. So from coming out of the great financial crisis until now, we know the market has had a great run. A lot of people have increased their wealth over that time period, but half of the US has not. So I don't know what the fix of that is, but I think it's important that, being in the profession and somebody who helps people with their money, it's important to talk about the discrepancy between, you know, the 1%ers and everybody else, but even the greater than the 1%ers. So the half that have had their net worth increase, what are the things that they're doing that has helped them do that? Some of it's just business ownership and the ultra rich already being there, but some of it is people starting businesses, going out there and having that happen, and it's just kind of luck. And then also the discrepancy between opportunities and non-opportunities. So I don't have the fix, but I think that putting these articles out there, talking about it, talking about how can we increase financial literacy, because that will surely help some people move along the way. But just putting that out there is something to read, and that's the real quick summary of it. Is those that had grew more, those that don't have haven't grown, and they're looking at net worth. So when they talk about wealth, that's net worth, homes included, investment, savings, all of those things. So there's a number of things that can impact that, but I think it's just a good conversation to have. And what are things that we can be doing to help those people who did not see their wealth increase get to the point where they can start seeing their wealth increase in future. Moving out of the markets, I'm a big user of Twitter, that's no surprise, and this week the CEO, Jack Dorsey's Twitter account was actually hacked. And I just bring this up as being a big Twitter user, this obviously caught my eye, and this is something that I need to worry about, but the way that it was hacked is something else to just put out there. So there's this thing now called SIM hacking, which I've never heard of. My friend Tyrone Ross had it happen to him, and he put a video out there, but basically what people are able to do is somehow hack your phone by going to AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, whomever they might use, and say that they are you, and then get a new SIM card. So the little cards you put into your phone that has all of your data that activates your phone, they can actually get a new SIM card issued in your name on their phone, which then gives you access. So that's how they got to Jack Dorsey's. And from what I've read is they're able to use some of the social content that you put out there to get enough information about your identity to be able to pass the security questions or what it might need to be to get in there. So they're getting information to be pretending to be you. They're getting a new SIM card which deactivates your phone, activates it on their phone, and then they can start text messaging from the phone that they have under your accounts. So I just put that out there as if you're a Twitter user or social media user, just out there using things, just be mindful of the information that we put out. Be aware, pay attention to your accounts and see what's going on. And if you see somebody's account who does not act normal, let them know, because on Jack Dorsey's account it was a lot of racist and hateful stuff that obviously would not be coming from him, but if he didn't know about it, who knows how long it could have gone and what he could do. And he has a big pocket where he can have a lot of money spent trying to figure this out and protecting himself. But for us normal people, that could ruin our reputation and it would be a hard thing to come back from. So if you see a friend's account acting a little crazy, maybe reach out to them and say, hey, is that you? And if so, stop. And if not, you may want to check your accounts. And finally, we've got Hurricane Dorian going on right now. I saw this morning that it changed paths a little bit, and I think it's going to miss Florida or miss some of Florida and go up the Carolinas and up the coast. But hurricanes always become a conversation when it comes to the economy and the market in short term. If it is real bad, you have delays in shipping, you have expenses, see Home Depot do real good things of that sort. So I don't think it's anything that majorly impacts, but just obviously thinking of the people down there, hoping that it's not as bad as it seems. I think it's a Category 5 now, but those things can pivot at the last minute, and hopefully it will, and not cause a lot of harm and go back out to sea. So that's it for this week's mixtape. Be sure to check your weekend review. Be sure to check the mixtape down below. Got some great posts to read on. Really enjoyed Morgan Housel's and Kay He's, but they're all very good. So make sure you check those out, and I will see you all next week. Have a great holiday weekend.